This is Carol Denego from mandalajoyrising.com. I'd like to read a story that I wrote, a vignette called A Test for Tanya. One fine spring day when the trade winds blew wildly and leaves scattered innocently across the Sushaden Islands, Tanya fell off her tightrope. She had walked that fine line for 37 years, careful to never, ever fall into the land of commitment. The winds that day caught her off guard. She lost her footing, yet was able to briefly grasp the tightrope until she could no longer hang on. Her medium-sized body quickly plunged towards the abyss below. She was so frazzled by the experience that Tanya's hair turned blue and her eyes lost sight for eternity, or so it seemed to Tanya. In truth, it was only 5 stunning minutes. When she came to, Tanya noticed 3 pairs of eyes staring back at her. When she blinked again, Tanya saw 6 beings in the most radiant indigo robes. They were very tall, slender, with embracing smiles and twinkling eyes. All were bowing down to her. "Am I dead?" Tanya asked apprehensively. "No, dear child, you are not. In truth, Tanya Ray Aurora, you might say you are more alive and free than ever before," said a wise being. "How do you know my name from 10,000 light years ago? We've been expecting you for eons. We knew one day that you'd topple off your tightrope, and here you are." "It wasn't planned. The wind pushed me," blurted Tanya. "Yes, but that was by your consent, set up by you in the creative chambers before this lifetime. You agreed that the trade winds would assist you if you're still reluctant to let go in your 37th year." Tanya tearfully cringed at the message. It was never in her consciousness to willingly fall off the tightrope. She had always been so careful to play it safe. Tanya only did activities that she already knew. Besides this, Tanya only went to the local places where the familiar was set in stone. "I shall never speak to the wind again," Tanya shouted defiantly, folding her arms against her chest. She then stuck out her tongue at the leader of these tall, ancient ones. He smiled with love and compassion. "You will discover, dear sister, that not all is as it seems. The C word may be different than what you imagine it to be." Tanya's heart felt heavy. She found it hard to accept that through her clumsiness she had fallen into an unknown land. Now she feared for her very soul. A door creaked open, and a sweet, angelic child walked over to Tanya and said, "Would you like some sparkling juice?" "No, I'm not thirsty," Tanya shouted. She wasn't going to trust anyone or anything in this strange land. "Well, how about a soft bed of lambskin and rose petals? You are probably tired from your long journey," said the child softly. "I'm not tired," Tanya said as she collapsed and slumped to the floor from the unbearable tension. Though Tanya attempted to keep her eyes open, it was a lost cause. She then fell asleep. 2 of the magnificent beings gently carried her to the lambskin and rose-petal bed. Before departing, they blessed her night's sleep with sweet dreams. Tanya battled even those blessings as she slept. In her dream, Tanya was back in her childhood home in Elmwood, where her sister Lucinda was busy getting dressed to attend an interactive play. "I'll get to yell at the villain and cheer for the hero," Lucinda said with excitement. Tanya listened with envy, but she was resolved not to get too involved. If she went, Tanya envisioned herself being picked out of the crowd and having to speak on stage. That thought terrified her. Lucinda held out her ticket to Tanya, but her timid sister ran in the opposite direction. In another dream, Tanya was stepping onto a stage when she tripped on her long pink sequin dress and awkwardly fell to the floor. A thoughtful man rushed over to help her up. After taking some time to get settled, Tanya began to joyfully sing the beautiful song, Hallelujah. Then she began to falter. Tanya's mind went blank, and she forgot the next words. Then she couldn't remember the next lines. Panicked, she started making up words and began to sing very off-key. Some people in the audience started booing. Other patrons threw rotten eggs at her and yelled, "Get off the stage!" Then Tanya, horrified, bolted off the stage, hoping to find a hole in the earth to hide in forever. Tanya woke up feeling embarrassed and exhausted, wishing for daylight. It soon arrived in dazzling hues of pink, yellow, purple, and sapphire. Tanya was astonished by the beauty, slowly realizing that she wasn't in Elmwood anymore. The end.